Hello, in this video we deal with the exercises, Sanskrit to English and English to Sanskrit, of Thomas Egenes lesson 14. So going to page 192, exercise 3, sentence A, Yada shishyo jalamanayati tadacharyastat pibati. Again, Yada shishyo jalamanayati tadacharyastat pibati. So we have the correlatives yada, tada, when, and then. So yada shishyo, when the student, jalam anayati, brings the water, tada acharya tat pibati. Then the teacher it drinks. Then the teacher drinks it. So by sandhi, tada charyas tat pibati. So yada shishyo jalamanayati tadacharyas tat pibati. Sentence B. Balu vapim gajan anayat. Balu vapim gajan anayat. So anayat, remember that's the imperfect form. He led. Ni nayati anayat. Gajan anayat. You'll note in particular how it's written in the Devanagari. If you were writing it separately, it would be Gajan Anayat. But because of the rules of Devanagari, it's written as like Ga, Ja, Na, Yat, as if it's all one word written syllable by syllable. So the boy leads the elephants, the Gajan, the masculine plural accusative, leads the elephants to the pool. Here, note the double accusative. The elephant is the direct object, elephants the direct object, and the pool, vapim, is the accusative of motion, leads them to the pool. So goes to, comes to, leads to, it's the same accusative of motion. So balo vapim gajan anayat. The boy led the elephants to the pool. Sentence C. Yo naro gramam upagacchati tan kavir vadati. So the relative yo naro gramam upagacchati, literally, which man is coming to the village? Tam kavir vadati, him the poet speaks to. So in English, the poet speaks to the man who is coming to the village, who is approaching the village. Sanskrit, which man is approaching the village? Yo naro gramam upagacchati. Remember now, yo naro is in the nominative case because it's the subject of the verb gacchati. It's the man who is upagacchati, who is approaching. But in the correlative, the poet speaks to him. Then that same tam, the same person. Now in the correlative, that's in the accusative because the poet is speaking to him. So yo naro gramam upagacchati, that kind of identifies the subject of the sentence, identifies it's not the subject, the topic of the sentence, the man who is approaching the village, him the poet speaks to. Tankavir vadati. So yo naro gramam upagacchati, tankavir vadati. Sentence D. Virah kupitan ripad gramam gopayatiti ramo vadat. So ramo vadat, which is rama avadat by regular sandhi. Ramo vadat. Ramo vadat. Rama said what? Vira, he is the hero. Gopayati, protects, which becomes gopayatiti because protects. Gopayati, end quote. Gopayati iti, gopayatiti, protects what? The gramam, protects the village from what? From what goes in the ablative. So it's kupitat nripat, from the angry king. Kupita, made angry. Kupitat nripat becomes kupitan nripat, because the final t by Santi changes to an n before the following n. Kupitan nripat. So nripat gramam, the t of nripat becomes a d, followed by the g of grama. So that is why kupitat nripat gramam becomes kupitan nripad gramam. Now, if you look at the Devanagari, that second word will written as one word in sentence D. Kupitan nripad gramam. You'll see that the gr, the gr, that's nripad gramam. It's written like this, the d and the gr written under it. So on its own, the gr would be written like that, or in handwriting more like that. But this is how it's written in print. That's it, the gr. Nripad gramam. So sentence E. Vapyang kajandrisht varshir ahasadahasatcha. So here we've got has, to laugh, ahasat, laughed, ahasat, cha, laughed and laughed, which by Sandhi becomes ahasad, the t followed by the a has become a d. No, atcha becomes atcha. So ahasat cha becomes ahasat cha. Drishtva rishir ahasat. So vapyam gajam drishtva, in the pond, the elephant having seen, the rishi laughed. So drishtva, having seen, rishi, the a followed by r just becomes a short r. So that's why drishtva rishi becomes drishtvar shi. The a ri just becomes ar. And remember, Maharishi, Maharshi, Maharishi, Mahesh Yogi, Maharshi, Mahesh Yogi. And the Rishir, the seer, laughed. Remember, this is the rule of the Visarga preceded by a vowel other than a or a. So Rishihi, Rishihi, Ahasat, Rishir, Ahasat. This is an example of the I changing to Ir. Rishir, Ahasat. Vapyam gajan drishtvarshir ahasatcha. Vapyam gajam drishtvarshir ahasatcha. Sentence F. Sundarim tava patnim bodhamiti kanya viram avadat. So the kanya, the girl, the maiden, Avadat said to the hero, Kanya Viram Avadat. She said something iti, that's bodhamiti, bodhami iti, bodhamiti. Sundarim tava patnim, your beautiful wife. Of course, in the accusative means I know your beautiful wife. Tava is the genitive form of tvam, meaning you. So, of thee, the beautiful wife I know, Sundarim tava patnim bodhamiti kanya viram avatat. And Sanskrit has no problem with separating beautiful wife. Beautiful your wife, I know. That's fine in Sanskrit. You could equally have said Tavasundarim Patnim Bodhamiti. That would have been equally correct. But remember, you can separate them. Sundarim Tava Patnim Bodhamiti Kanyaviram Avadat. Sentence G. Yasmin grihe patnyavasat tatsa pratyagachat. So, Yasmin grihe, in which house? So the whole sentence means the wife returned to the house in which she lived. So, in which house the wife lived? Tat sa pratyagachat. It, to it, that's the accusative there, accusative of motion. Tat pratyagachat, came back to it, returned to it. So in English, the wife returned to the house in which she lived. In Sanskrit, in which house the wife lived, to it she returned. Yasmin, in which grihe, house, locative Yasmin grihe, patni avasat. Remember the root vas, to dwell. She dwelt, avasat, and the patni avasat becomes patnyavasat. Remember, when you get the sandhi with the final e or e with the following dissimilar vowel, here dissimilar because it's an a. If the following vowel had been an e, then the sandhi would have just made one long e. The wife wants patni ichati becomes patni chati. So, and when you have the sandhi of e or e with the following a, it becomes a ya. Equally, whether it's a long e or a short e, they both just become a ya before a following dissimilar vowel. So that's why it's patnyavasat, patnyavasat, patnyavasat. So Yasmin grihe patnyavasat, in which house the wife lived. Tat sa pratyagachat, that, meaning to that, sa, she, pratyagachat, went back, returned. I'll read it once more. Yasmin grihe patnyavasat tat sa pratyagachat. And note again here we have the agachat, the imperfect form, and the augment, the a of the agachat, comes directly next to the root, and the prefix goes before it. So prati agachat, pratyagachat. Sentence H. Rishi shanting satyang siddhim amritam sukhancha bodhati. So the rishi, and then the verb is bodhati, he knows. The rishi knows. There's just a series of nouns in the accusative, the things that he knows. Shanting satyam siddhim amritam. He knows peace, truth, siddhim, perfection or accomplishment, attainment, sukhancha. So amritam, immortality, sukhancha, and happiness. Rishi shanting satyang siddhim amritam sukhancha bodhati. Sentence I. Virah senaya gramam agopayat. So goop, to protect, class 10, gopayati, and the imperfect agopayat, he protected. So gramam agopayat, he protected the village. You protect something from somebody or something in the ablative. So senaya, we've got the sorry, I failed to call up my iPad. Do apologize for that. Where's my iPad gone? I better pause and get my iPad back for you. Right, we now proceed to the English to Sanskrit exercises on page 193. It's a 4a. The poet read the book as if he were drinking water. So, Kavi pustakam apatat, root pat. He reads patati. He read apatat. So, Kavi pustakam apatat, as if he were drinking water. So, he was drinking water, was jalam apibat. Remember, slightly irregular formation of the present tense. Pa, to drink. Pibati, he drinks. So he drank apibat. So as if he were drinking water. Jalam apibat iva. Iva, as if. I'm not quite happy with the way the Sanskrit is expressed here. It would be more normal to use the present participle as if drinking water. Jalan piban iva. I'll show you how that goes. So jalam piban iva. Remember, pibati, present participle, stem, pibant, masculine nominative singular, piban, accusative, pibantam. So masculine nominative singular, drinking, piban. So jalam pibaniva. Remember a bit of sandhi here, where you get a final n preceded by a short vowel and followed by a vowel, the n doubles. So it's jalam pibaniva. That's just a regular rule. If it was a long vowel preceding the n, like horses, ashvaniva, it doesn't double. But if it's a short a, final n, followed by any vowel, it is a pibaniva. So I'll do that sentence again using my preferred form of the present participle rather than apibadiva. So kave pustakam apatat jalam pibaniva, and then with sandhi, kave pustakam apatat jalam pibaniva. So remember, apatat followed by jalam, the t, final t of apatat, red, followed by a j. The final t becomes a j with the following j of the next word. So he was reading apatat. That t becomes a j. That becomes apatajalam. So kavi pustakam apatajalam pibaniva. Sentence B. The hero asked, "How do I protect the village from the army?" So, how from the army the village I protect? Thus the hero asked. So, katam, how? Gramam gopayami, how do I protect the village from the army? So remember, senayaha, genitive and ablative. Senayaha gramam gopayami. Senayaha gramam, the final visarga drop. So senaya gramam gopayami. So katang senaya gramam gopayamiti. Viraha aprichat. Again by Sandhi, Viraha aprichat becomes Viro prichat. So Katam Senaya Gramangopayamiti Viro prichat. Sentence C. How did sages live without fire? Katam, how? Sages, Rishaya. This is Rishi, masculine, noun ending in a short e, so the nominative is Rishi, and the nominative singular, and the plural, the I, becomes Aya. So Rishi, singular, Rishayah, plural. So Katam, Rishayah, how the sages without fire lived, or fire without lived, Agnina, Vina, Avasan. Vas, Vasati, to dwell, live. No, Agni, fire. Masculine singular, nominative Agnihi. Instrumental is Agnina. So we have Katam Rishaya, Agnina, Vina, Avasan. And with Santi, Katam Rishayo Gnina Vinavasan. So Rishayo Agnina Rishayo. So Rishayaha Agnina becomes Rishayo Gnina. Katam Rishayo Gnina. And Vina Avasan becomes Vinavasan. So the entire sentence with Santi. Katam Rishayo Gnina Vinavasan. Sentence D. If the horses go back to the river, then the boy leads them to the forest. We have a double accusative here, leads them to the forest. So leads them, the horses, is the direct object, so the accusative. To the forest, that's the accusative of motion, leading to the forest. So yadi, if, and the horses ashvaha, without Santi first, of course. Yadi ashvah nadim pratigachanti. So pratigachanti, go back. Nadim, accusative of motion, to the river. Tada, then. Balaha, the boy, will lead them to the river. Nayati, leads. Tan, so lead them to the forest. Nayati, leads. Tan, them. Masculine, accusative, plural. Tan, remember in Pali it would be te, but in Sanskrit, tan. So tan vanam nayati. With Santi, tan vanam nayati. So the entire sentence now. Yadyashva nadim pratigachanti tada balas twan vananayati. Balaha, tan, the boy, them. Balaha, tan, the visarga followed by the dental t becomes balas tan. So balas tan vananayati, the boy, them, to the forest leads. Yadyashva nadim pratigachanti tada balas tan vanam nayati. Sentence E. When a man does not know suffering, then he approaches perfection. So without Santi first, yada, when, nara, a man, dukkam na bodhate, does not know dukkha, does not know suffering. Tada, then, siddhim upagachati. Upagachati is to approach. It also means to get hold of. Many of you will know towards the end of I think in the last verse of the Karaniya Metta Sutta, Ditting in Pali, Dittingcha an Upagamma, not going up to. This is not taking a stand on, not taking hold of. Dittim views in Sanskrit would be Drishtincha an Upagamya. So Upagamya, Pali Upagamma, this absolutive form can take the negating a, or with a vowel, of course, an in front of it, non going up, anupagamma in Sanskrit, anupagamya. So here, the normal meaning is just to approach something, to go up onto it. So yada naraha, without Santi again, yada naraha dukkham na bodhate tada siddhim upagacchati. And with Santi, yada naro dukkam na bodhate tada siddhim upagacchati. And it's not a real sandhi, siddhim upagacchati. It behaves like a full consonantal M, because it's followed by a vowel, so no anuswara. In writing, it's all merged together in one word. That's why you get the mu in the middle. You see in the way it's written in sandhi, in the last line under sentence I, you see that mu. That's the m is the last consonant of siddhim, and the u is the vowel of upagacchati, combined together in Devanagari writing, siddhim upagacchati. So I'll read again. Yada naro dukkam nabodhate tada siddhim upagacchati. Sentence F. The king named Rama brought his wife Sita a garland. So here he didn't bring his wife, he brought a garland to his wife, brought his wife a garland. You use the dative there, so obviously he brought the garland, that goes in the accusative, that's the direct object of the verb, but you brought it to Sita. You do not use the accusative of motion there. For giving something or bringing something to somebody, you tend to use the dative there if the idea is a giving. So nripa, without sounding again, nripa Ramah nama. Now nama is just the nominative. It's a neuter word. It's the nominative neuter. Well, nama is the neuter noun name. And when you say somebody by name, Rama by name, or named Rama, you just say Rama name. You just use that nominative form. You don't use you'd say, there might be an inclination to use it Rama by name, we'd say in English, we'd say Rama name. Whatever case Rama is in, whatever case the so-and-so by name is in, the nama just follows it in that invariable form, nama. So nripo Ramo nama tasya bharyayai. So bharya is a wife. The dative bharyayai. It becomes ayai for the dative. Sitayai, they both have to go in the dative because they're in apposition to his wife Sita, both in the dative. Malam anayat. So ni, lead, bring. Need means to lead. Ni, to bring. Anayati, he brings. Nayat, brought. So he led would be anayat, the nayati anayat. But this is anayat, Remember, verbal prefix a with the imperfect anayat, the a and the merge to a, so that's why it's anayat. So malamanayat, brought a garland. So with Sandhi, nripo ramo nama tasya bharyayai sitayai malamanayat. Nripo Ramo nama tasya bharyayai sitayai malamanayat. Sentence G. By means of knowledge, a man conquers ignorance. So, a man conquers ignorance. He conquers ignorance. Avidyam jayati. Remember, knowledge, vidya. Ignorance is non-knowledge, so avidya. In Pali, we have it as avidya. By the normal phonetic mutation, the dya becomes a double j. Vidya, knowledge, avidya, ignorance. So vidyam, santi vidyan jayati. Avidyan jayati. How? Vidyaya. So knowledge, vidya, and the instrumental in feminines and along R is the R becomes aya. So vidyaya. Put this for you. Vidya, knowledge, by knowledge. This is the regular formation. Vidyaya, instrumental. Vidya, vidyaya. So avidyam in the accusative because it's the direct object of jayati, conquers. So narah avidyam vidyaya jayati, literally man, non-knowledge by knowledge conquers. A man conquers knowledge, sorry, man conquers ignorance by knowledge. And with Sandhi, the narah avidyam becomes naro vidyam. Naro vidyam vidyaya jayati. Now, potential ambiguity, is it new page? Narah avidya, say avidyam. And narah vidyam. Because of the rule of Sandhi, narah avidyam becomes naro vidyam, and narah vidyam becomes naro vidyam. In writing, they would be distinguished. In writing, they're distinguished because in the Romanized script, we put this apostrophe to represent the dropped a, and in the Devanagari script, we use this avagraha, it looks like a bit like a capital S, to represent the lost a. So that ambiguity would not be there if you see it written, because you see the a. There's a missing a because of the avagraha there. However, in speech, naro vidyam, both narah avidyam and narah vidyam both become naro vidyam. So there is a potential ambiguity if you were speaking it rather than seeing it in writing. Sentence H. The child drank the water which came from the river. So the water which came from the river, in English, in Sanskrit, we put the relative then correlative. So which water came from the river? That the child drank. So without Sandhi, yat jalam nadyah agachat tat praja pibat. Remember, pa, pibati, so drank apibat. So yat jalam becomes yad jalam. Yad jalam. And you'll see it's written as a double j in the Devanagari. I'll write it for you in Devanagari. Use a double j. You just put the characteristic parts of the j, two of them, which is now yadja. Sorry, I've missed out the la. Mucked it up. I'll do it again. Yadjalam. That's that double j here. Single j like that. Double j like that. Yadjalam. So yadjalam nadyah agachat. Nadyah from the river agachat. With sandhi, the long a followed by visarga, followed by a vowel. Nadyah agachat. Drop the visarga. Nadya agachat. So yadjalan nadya agachat. That, the child, the word used for child is praja here, just as in progeny, praja. Tat praja apibat. So praja apibat, that has to merge by sandhi. Praja pibat. Tat praja pibat. So again, yajjalam nadya agachat. Tat praja pibat. Sentence I. Having seen the river, the girl returned to her house, which in Sanskrit would go, the girl, having seen the river, returned to her house. So Kanya Nadim Drishtva, so Nadim accusative Nadi, Nadin Drishtva, Tasyaha Griham Pratyagachat. So Nadin Drishtva, in the normal way, the Nadim on its own, but we write Nadin Drishtva with Anuswara, having seen the river, Nadin Drishtva. Tasyaha Griham, by Sandhi becomes Tasya Griham, and Pratyagachat, went back to. Kanya Nadin Drishtva Tasya Griham Pratyagachat. The last sentence in this lesson, sentence J. The boy led the horses from the forest to the river. Double accusative because he's leading the horses to the river. Leading the horses, direct object, to the river, accusative of motion. Without sandhi. Balaha Vanat Nadim Ashvan Anayat. So the boy from the forest to the river, the horses led. Balaha Vanat Nadim Ashvan Anayat. And with sandhi, Balo Vanan Nadim. Remember the final t followed by a n beginning the next word. Vanat Nadim becomes Vanan Nadim. So Balo Vanan Nadim Ashwananayat. Now earlier with the example of Piban, Pibaniva, got a short vowel N followed by a vowel Pibaniva, it doubles the N, short vowel N, double N, Pibaniva. Here we see Ashvananayat, it's a long vowel N followed by another vowel, the N remains a single. Ashvananayat, led the horses. So Balo Vanan Nadim Ashvananayat. And that concludes lesson 14.